You're listening to Miscast Commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome to Miscast Commentary, the beginning of Season 5. I am Joe Finley. Todd Murray is not here. There's a reason for that. We recorded this on our stream. It was the first time we recorded together. There was an audio issue in that there was no audio. So now I am back here by myself, atoning for that, getting us an episode out. And quite frankly, I don't think I'm going to tell Todd, because I think he'll kill me, and I think he can do it. So I'm going to avoid that, and we're going to just do an episode right here and now. I'm going to recap the stuff that we talked about, though, and I'll even give you basically what we talked about. And then we're going to talk about next week's movie, our first movie of Season 5, and we are very excited about it because it's an awesome movie. We're going to start off strong, and we're adding so many new things. We've got the stream on Twitch, which I'm actually recording this episode, but I am going live on Twitch, doing it right now. So if you're watching, you're the first to hear it. Other people will hear it tomorrow. Is that a good thing, a bad thing? I don't know. We'll find out. So, a lot of things that we talked about. We talked about Tenet yesterday. It's making, relative to everything that's going on, it's making really good money. Of course, right before the COVID of it all happened, they basically said, they're like, if this movie doesn't make $1 billion, it's going to be considered a flop because of how much money it cost to make and all that stuff. Well, sad to say, it only made $150 million so far, I think, and I don't know exactly where it is on the worldwide scale, but I don't think we're going to come anywhere near that $1 billion mark. That is going to be a stain on Christopher Nolan. I think that he's not going to go to director's jail, as it were, but I think he's going to really be put into a bit tighter of a box when it comes to what they let him do and stuff like that. You know, you get the Batman movies, they come out, and it's a whole thing. So, Tenet, haven't even heard the best things about it. I've heard some good things. I've honestly been more interested myself, as was Todd, in seeing Bill and Ted Face the Music. Have not seen it yet. Would like to go see it. And just because it looks like fun. And quite frankly, I don't need the heady seriousness of Christopher Nolan right now. I need fun stuff to pollute my brain so I'm not thinking about everything else about it, right? So we're going to check that out sometime. Hopefully maybe Todd and I will go get to see that, and maybe we'll hop on an episode and or maybe on a stream, and we'll talk about the movie and have people talk about it with us. We'll see how that goes. And what else did we talk about? Oh, we talked about everybody getting COVID. The Rock and the Batman both got COVID-19. Michael Rooker, the Rook and the Rock, got COVID-19. I don't know if they had it, if they're saying they had it. Well, I think The Rock said he had it. It's new for Pattinson. It is, I don't know where it was for Rooker, but it's just like, man, everybody's getting it. And actually where we are right now, where the numbers are actually, I'll tell you, my entire province, so we're Canadian, just for those who don't know or care. And so we're in the province of Ontario. That's where Toronto is, Niagara Falls, all that good stuff. And our numbers, the amount of cases that came in yesterday were 149. And our premier, your governor, or depending on where you are. God, there's so many people in the world. The world's gotten so small, hasn't it? But anyways, he's basically said he's considering already rolling back some of our opening and stuff like that based on those numbers. So I tend to feel a little bit safer here than I would anywhere else. Well, not anywhere else. There's other places like dealing with it well, so good news for them. But just like, hopefully none of our Canadian celebrities get it. If Anne Murray gets it, oh jeez, it'll be the country will shut down for a week. And so yeah, that was that. And so obviously the Batman filming is going to be postponed for probably a good length of time, because they'll have to make sure he's all good, and then they'll have to make sure everybody's all good and all that stuff. We actually have tonight, as I'm recording this, so today's Thursday, we have football starting up. And I was doing my fantasy football draft yesterday, and we were talking, and nobody's convinced that the season is going to last the entire time. It just doesn't seem like it's in the cards, you know what I mean? So we're going to be watching that really carefully, and it's so funny just drafting, basing, it's fantasy football and fantasy sports in general is such a weird meme thing anyways. It makes fans of the sport like real jerks towards the people who listen, or the people who watch it and stuff like that. They're like, oh, this, my team better win, but this guy better not get any friggin' yards. Or you hear stories about like people going up to football players and whatever and going, oh God, you dropped that pass and it cost me the game, blah, blah, blah. It's bananas, but now we're also factoring in, are these guys gonna all get sick and die? They're very weird conversations to be having. But I mean, that's fantasy football in general. It's just a weird thing. So we're doing that. We're having fun. We got the first game tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Haven't watched much of the other sports. I've watched some NBA. I think they've probably done the best job of it since coming back. I mean, baseball's been kind of whatever. Hockey was kind of I don't really watch it anyways. Oh, Canadian who doesn't watch hockey. What? It's true, I don't, and it's fine. And most people don't get mad at me here. I've only been attacked twice because of it. What else did we talk about? We talked about the passing of Chadwick Boseman. I did, in our last episode, there was a little brief comment about him at the beginning that I just recorded prior to sending out the episode. Still terrible. Still, every time I think about it, gut-wrenching. Todd and I were talking about the funerals that people have had for him. That little kid took all his toys and had a little Black Panther funeral, and it was just... It's heartbreaking to watch a kid's hero die like that, and for them to find a way to process it and all that is kind of awesome. And then I've seen nerdier versions that have also been cool. They had, the Hot Toys, the really kick-ass versions, like the super high, highly accurate versions of all the toys. Somebody had all of the Avengers and all that stuff, and then they had a little memorial thing for him there too. You could probably find it online very easily. Look it up. It's a pretty cool picture. People just trying to honor him the best way they can. But then we asked the question, well, actually, I asked the question, what happens next? So basically what we're dealing with is the guys from Disney and Marvel and all that. They've probably been having their own, back of house talks about, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? How are we going to move forward with Black Panther? Are we going to recast? Are we going to do whatever? Todd said his basically thing. We basically really disagreed with each other, only to find out that we totally agreed with each other. I said that they should not get a new guy to play the Black Panther, and he's like, no, he's too important, you have to have the Black Panther, blah blah blah. I understood that. My contention, which I actually tweeted not too long after, probably too soon after he passed, but I was thinking about it, and it's just, you think your thoughts when you're thinking about a situation like this. And I said that Shuri should take the rightful place as the new Black Panther. She's a popular character. You get another female in there. She'd be a female person of color who's, hello, hitting the mic. She'd be a female person of color who'd be very high on the cast list, and I think that would be great. And so he was disagreeing with me, saying we gotta have the Black Panther, but I think he was thinking I was saying have a movie without a version of the Black Panther, but I was saying no, she should be the Black Panther, and he's like, oh no, that's awesome. So yeah, she would be the Black Panther. You would move what rocks you have to move to push a story along, as far as, because, you get the nerds going, well, she was never the Black Panther, and she was, and it's funny that I say that. You see the shirts I wear and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm one of those nerds, and I don't talk like this, but I'm getting a point across. And what that point is neither here nor there. I think it's the best way to go. I think that anybody playing T'Challa would be off-putting, and it wouldn't be that guy's fault. And you know how people react when people get cast as anything anymore. Geez. And maybe they search for a new Black Panther in there. I wouldn't mind seeing Winston Duke's M'Baka as the new Black Panther. Like, you know, Shuri decides that the suit doesn't quite fit her, or well, not doesn't fit her, you know what I mean, but doesn't suit her, and she would rather be doing what she was doing before, and then, and that becomes the struggle of that thing. Maybe they do something crazy. Todd had a great idea about all the craziness of, you know, the multiverses and whatever, and bringing, Michael B. Jordan back. I bet you he'd do it in a heartbeat, to bring him back and then explain everything. He becomes the new Black Panther, and I think that that's a cool idea too. It's like they all have their merits. I like the idea of Shuri just being the Black Panther. I think that would be really cool too. Also because she's young. She's like, there's so many. I don't know. It checks a lot of boxes that we're not used to seeing. That would be wonderful to see. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. I think it's worthy. It's worth a thought, you know? I'm not making these decisions. And apparently, this is what the funny part was. This is where we're going. So that was my idea. And then I'm going to show too. I can't show it here. I don't have it up and ready to go. I probably should have, because I knew I was going to talk about it. But I tweeted, and I was going to show the tweet just saying, hey, yeah, I did tweet that, just, you know, so you know I'm not like full of shit. But I'll put it up on the YouTube version, but Disney came forward and said that that's basically what they're doing, is they're moving forward with Shuri. And while this is a source close to Disney, you know how the reporting works for these things. A movie that's not going to start filming like anytime soon, but we know way too much about it. I miss the old days. I do. We've talked about it before, and I've made this exact comparison before, but I choose to make this exact comparison again. The last movie I remember not knowing anything about before it came out, you just found out it was coming out, and you're just like, oh man, was the first Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. We were in the movies, Todd and I, and a few of our friends, and all of a sudden there was this teaser trailer, and they were coming up over, and it's like, you just see like one person walk over, and you're like, oh man, that's Elijah Wood, cool, what is this? And then, like, you see Sean Astin, and you see people slowly going over. And I watched Todd. Like, Todd was more familiar with it than I was, having read it recently. We'd both read The Hobbit, but he had read Lord of the Rings, and I hadn't. And he was just like, you could see his jaw drop. He's like, no way. And sure enough, he's like, I think this is Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, really? And then, yeah, it was Lord of the Rings. It's like, man, that's never happened. That hasn't happened in, 20 years. More than 20 years now. Because you got to be online, and you got to hear every friggin' detail about every single casting, and then people being recast. Like, all the grossness of movies, or like the process of making movies, I don't miss not knowing about. I really don't. Like, it's fun to know, hey, this movie's coming out and blah, blah, blah. But I miss the old days of just being hit with it. And you're just like, oh, shit, really? That's awesome. I don't think those days will ever come back. But, when people say make America great again, that's what I'm thinking about. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. Everything else can kind of stay. Well, minus the, countries being on fire right now, and people being essentially responsible for that, and, political, sick, all that wonderful stuff. That's like the only thing I just kind of want to come back. I was saying to somebody today too, because it also that spawns all the bile, of the different, like, reactions to things. They're like, oh, this person's being cast as this, and like, not in my universe, blah, blah, blah. Like, poor John Boyega, just the friggin' beating he took for just being cast in a movie for Star Wars. He's like, no, all stormtroopers are white. Haven't you seen their helmets? And, I think that couldn't happen. Well, I mean, it wouldn't happen as much because nobody would have time to take to it. Saying to somebody today, I went to an osteopath to fix my shoulder. People who've been listening and watching for a really long time remember when my shoulder was all messed up. But I said to him, I'm like, the internet would be a better place if we could just get information and not give it. I know I wouldn't be able to do this kind of nonsense, but again, maybe better. Yeah, it was just a matter of none of that stuff happened. Like, you'd get, like, hey, this person is Bond. This is the new Bond, and here's, like, the trailer for the movie or whatever. And it's like, you didn't have time to really react. You're like, oh, I guess that's the new Bond. Because there's nothing you could do about it, right? So everybody's just, oh, all right, moving on. I will go see the movie, or I won't go see the movie. That was how you expressed yourself. You voted with money. So that's that. Anything else we covered was just utter bullshit, because that's what we usually do. I'm so heartbroken. It was a good app. Like, we had a lot of fun, a lot of back and forth. Todd may have had a little drink. But we are moving on. And we're going to have this stuff fixed. And hopefully by the next time we record the Coming Attractions episode for the 2 weeks from now, we're going to record again. And we'll go live again. And we'll make sure that everything is in order. Okay? And not much you can do about it anyways. But not much I can do about it either, so here we are, doing this. So let's talk about next week. Let's talk about our first movie. I am excited. We had a movie in the can already. We've got a commentary that was ready to rock. We have 2 now. But then there is another, like, I was just like, we can't start with these movies. We got to start with something big. Something, I don't know, just something to put us in kind of the right mindset to get through another season and try and pace how we're doing these things and give you an idea of what is to come. And we wanted to go on an adventure. And there's no better movie for 2 guys essentially reliving their childhood together, going on an adventure. We're watching The Goonies, guys.
Wait a minute!
Steven Spielberg presents The Goonies, a Richard Donner film.
Time, chump. Hey, Mike found the map. Whoa, do you guys realize what we could do? I don't want to go on any more of your crazy Goonie adventures.
Meet Mikey,
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Brand, Andy,
Shame. Come on, Brand. Slip with the tongue. That's disgusting. No, I can't even look.
Mouse,
I gotcha. Now get out from behind there. You're ruining the painting. You're ruining my joke.
Stephanie, Data,
Booty banger. Ow. Guys, isn't that neat?
and Chunk.
It's locked. Big drinks, Chunk.
They call themselves The Goonies. They've stumbled onto a legend, but they're not alone.
Chunk, I hope that was your stomach. No. That's the it. Sounds like Kong.
Discover what they uncover.
It was rubies and emeralds and diamonds.
The Lost Map.
Oh, Chris started the tunnel.
The Secret Caves.
Hey, Mikey! You can hear me! Run! Run! They're coming after you! Circle!
The Hidden Clues.
Mikey!
The treacherous traps.
Hello, Sheriff. I'm at the Lighthouse Lounge, and I want to report, a murder.
Just like that last prank about all those little creatures that multiply when you throw water on them.
Take the oath.
They're here! Somebody's coming!
Join the adventure as Steven Spielberg presents The Goonies, a Richard Donner film.
Next week, right here, except over there, except not here. You get it. We're watching Goonies together. I hope that you come and join us wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the big ones, all the little ones, all the in-between ones. We post them to YouTube as well. That's essentially it for our episode, guys. I don't have anything else for you. But if you're on the stream, we have more for you here. So if you're listening to this episode, you realize that you're like, oh man, I really screwed up, because they're going to have more fun on the stream. And we're about to do that. But I'm going to say goodbye to all you listeners first. And I love you all, because you're where we started, and you're where we'll end, because eventually I'll go blind from, I don't know, diabetes or something. And you're what I've got. So, I love you guys. We end this episode, and we'll see you next week.
This has been Miscast Commentary with your hosts, Joe Finley and Todd Murray. Executive producer, Joe Finley. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. Visit www.miscastcommentary.com for all news related to the podcast. Miscast Commentary is a Miscast Media production.